today's project, we're going to be making an amazing Christmas gift. We'll be making a shadow box. We'll be using the Classic Cloche Photopolymer stamp set and the Classic Cloche dies. We'll also be using the Beauty of the Earth Designer Series paper. And this is a piece that we'll be using out of that collection. And we can get 4 pieces for the belly band out of this by cutting it 1 here across the bottom and then 3 up here. The shadow box is sized just right to fit a Bath & Body Works hand sanitizer. How cute is that? Hi, I'm Joan Heberlein, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I've created this video for Joan Simple Paper Crafts found right here on YouTube. If you're new here, I'm so excited to meet you, and I want to thank you for stopping by. If you're a returning guest, welcome back. Be sure to subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below. That way you won't miss when I post a video, which is typically once a week. Now give me a second and we can get started. We'll start first with doing our stamping because it's going to be a little bit tricky because it is a 2-step stamp set. Right here we have the birds, and then this is the coloring for the birds, and these are the coloring for the leaves on the tree, and then this is the cloche. So it's a multiple step. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my version of the Stampin' Up! Stamparatus. What I mean by my version is I don't have a Stamparatus. I have another company's Stamparatus right now, but I needed to use this because it's the easiest way to get those to match up just perfect. So what you do first is you want to get your paper in there. And we'll start with the cloche first. Thought I had these already, but they stuck together, so it took me a few minutes to pull that apart. So I'm just going to set this down here, and then I will put this back on here to capture the stamp. Now it's going to pick up the paper. So I will just move the paper back in place. Then we will use our stamp set, and we're going to be using the Memento ink for the cloche and for the birds. And that's all I needed with that. So I'm just going to clean off my stamp here. Just a minute. Then we're going to put our birds in the center here. And I want to get them lined up straight. And I'm just going to make sure the paper didn't lift on me. I'm centering that in there. And then I'm just going to go and pick it up again with the Stamparatus. And I'm going to make sure this didn't lift again on me, because it wants to lift a little bit there when it's just paper. But as long as you're putting it in the corner, it should work just fine because you're just lining it up in the same position every time. That looks great. So then we're going to just wipe that off again. And then we're going to use our leaves or pine needles. And we'll position that on here. Gotta find which way they go on. And I take time to make sure that I get this lined up perfectly. So that looks good. And then I'm going to lift this up. And then I'm going to make sure that this is still in the corner. And it had shifted a little bit, so I'm glad that I did that. And then I am going to, actually I'm going to cap off my Memento ink because we're done with that and I don't want to put my elbow in it. So I'm going to get the Mossy Meadow ink. And I'm just going to stamp. And then we'll come down. And I'm just going to look quick before I go all the way down. And it looks like it's close. So I'm going to go ahead and commit. And it was perfect. So I'm going to just close this up. And then we'll clean off our stamp set again. Then we're going to take our birds, and I want to just make sure that this is in the corner again, and it is. And then we'll go in with the birds. And I've taken my time to make sure that I've got that right over the image again. Now this is just the top half of the bird. I'm making sure the tail is lined up perfectly, and then the head is lined up. And I'm lining up both birds. So I think that's good. I'm going to take this and pick them up. And then make sure this paper is back in the corner again. And I'm just going to go and see if I can line it up again, make sure it's still there. It looks like it's still there, so I am going to go ahead and put our ink on there, and we're going to use Pacific Point. And I think that looks good. All right, I'm going to close this up. And then, ooh, my magnets have collapsed upon each other, so I'll be back. I got to separate those. Well, I got the magnets apart, and what we need to do next is die cut this. So I've got our die here, and I'm just going to lay this on here, and then we'll run that through our cut and emboss machine. Well, I've already done it, so we don't have to wait on that. And what we need to do is I want to put the stem on the very top. And I tried doing it once on the paper without doing the die cutting first, and it doesn't match up quite right. So I am just going to put this on here, and basically I just want to get a little bit of color toward the top of the stamp. And that's what I wanted there. So you can see the little bit of color around that. And we're done with the Memento ink, so I'm putting that away. I can just put this on our Stampin' scrub. So we've got that, and we'll set that aside for now. And what we want to do next is we want to cut our paper for the box. We've got a piece of paper, and I've already cut it to 8 1/4 by 9 1/4, and I have it on here at the 8 1/4 position right now. It doesn't really matter right now because I am going to score it at 1/2 inch, 1 3/8 inch, 1 7/8 inch, and 2 3/4 inch on all 4 sides. So I'll start with the 1/2 inch. And this works really well because we've got these markers here keeping our place as where we're scoring. So it allows me to do repetitive scoring. So when I'm doing boxes, it works really well. Oh, and I need to keep straight there. At least I was already in this section where it's going to be cut away, so I don't have to worry about that where I went off track. And I have to remember to do the 1/2 inch. Did I do it on the other one? Let me just check real quick. 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. Yeah, we got it on the other two. And then there should be one more side here. Now, this works really well for cardstock. I do have some that I did on foil, and it slips off the grid a lot easier. So I'm going to show you how I do this with our Stampin' trimmer. But I got to do 2 more things. We've got to do, this happens to be the long side right here. So we'll do the long side. We got to do a 2 1/4 and a 7 inch. So here's 2 1/4. And I'm going all the way down to the 4th line, and then we're going to stop there. Same thing for the 7 inch. Just down to the 4th line. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to flip it over to the other side. And we want 2 1/4 again to the 4th line. And these are lines that'll just be clipped off, so we don't need to worry about those going all the way to the line. On the short side, we need to do 3 1/4, and we're only going to go to the 2nd line, so that's this one right here, 1, 2, and it's 3 1/4. And 5 inch. And we're going to flip it over to the other side and do the 3 1/4. Trying to get on the track again. And 5 inch. And that's all our markings. I did kind of go off beyond the line here. So what I can do is I can take my scoring tool and just go on the back side and just kind of erase it. This piece right here, it's a little bit longer than it should. So I'm just going to go on the back side here and I'm just going to rub it out. I'm not going to put a lot of pressure. I'm just basically rubbing it out lightly. There we go. Let's go and do the same thing with our foil, and we'll show you on our Stampin' trimmer. We're going to do a 1/2 inch all the way around. And what I do when I'm using just the scoring, I take off this blade here. So I'm going to take it down to the bottom here where there's a little hole, and I can just lift it out. So the scoring blade is out now, or the cutting blade is not in there anymore. I took it out. So that way I won't inadvertently cut our paper. We're going to do a 1/2 inch. And this scores it really easily, so you don't want to go very hard with it. And what I thought I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use my stylus tool, and we'll use that, and it'll fit inside the track. So it won't quite as make a hard line on there. So that's a 1/2 inch all the way around. Then we need to also do the 1 3/8. And so I'm going to go, and I'm going on this side of the track. There's enough room to do that on the side of the track. So on the right side of the track. And then we'll do that all the way around again. And I want to show you how this will fold easier than our cardstock. So I'm going to put all the score lines in here. Then we need to go 1 7/8. Now I need to go on the left side of the track because there's not enough room to do the 1 7/8 out on the other side. So, and I'll also do the 2 3/4 as long as we're right here. 2 3/4 right there. So now we have all that done. Now we need to do our short lines. So we'll go with, let's see, this is the long length. So we'll do the 2 1/2 and the 7 inch. I'm sorry, 2 1/4. And we want to go all the way down to the 4th line. So right here's our 4th line, and I'm just going to go upward. And then right here it is down here, and I'm going to go downward. And then we'll do the same thing with the 7 inch. See, I don't know if you realized I didn't have to flip it over to get the bottom section done, where on here, it's hard to line it up on the bottoms because you have that break in there. You'd have to figure out where you were at. So you'd have to flip it over in order to get it. This way you don't even have to move it. You can get it all done in one stroke. Okay, so we've got our long length done. Now we'll do the shorter length, and that is going to be done at 3 1/4. And we're going to the second line right down here. And I'm just going to go upward. And the second line, and I'm going downward. You probably didn't see the top one. So let me do this next one. It's going to be 5 inch. And I'll pull it down here so you can see it. Make sure that you see it. And just going upward. And then we do it at the bottom. And now we've got that all taken care of. So what we have next is we need to trim this. Before we trim it, we're going to fold it. So we will fold it and score it, burnish it with our scoring tool. And I'm just going to do all of the long lengths. We don't have to worry about the short lengths because we're just going to clip those. Those are our markings for trimming. So, and these are just folds that we want in here. The long lengths are fold marks. So it's relatively easy, and you can see the fold marks. So I don't know if you see here, when you score it, it leaves a dent inward, so it's like a V in there, and then this is a rounded part on here. So you want to fold it away from the V. So I'm folding it away from the V. That's the last side. And now I'll show you how I do it with the foil. The foil almost folds all by itself. But I do use the scoring blade on the foil. It just finds it so easily. So I just wanted to show you that. And I've got a project I made with this, and we'll see that at the end of this clip. So what we need to do next is we need to cut our cardstock out. We've got these short marks here. They only go up to the second line here. And that's where we want to start clipping. So I'm going to clip all the way to that second line. And then I'm going to turn it at an angle, and I'm going to clip to this next corner. So I'm going to go from this point here to this point here. And from there, I'm going to take it to here. So we're going to that fourth line. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we'll make it a mirror image. And then I'm just going to quick clip the ends here. Just take it off an angle slightly. That'll help when we need to fold this down in later. It'll fold a lot easier with that clipped out. Then next we want to do is we want to take it from the third line all the way across. So we're going to get rid of all of that. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, the fourth line. 1, 2, because we added this short one here. So it's the short one that doesn't go any farther. So it's, and we want to clip it all the way to where it stops here. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. And this is waste. We can just throw that away. And we'll do it over here, same way. And then we can take this, just fold this back for right now, and then we're going to just trim off the edge again to make it easier to fold that tab in later. So just take a little bit off on the edge. The next we can take is this clip on the other side here. And then we're going to clip it from the outer edge all the way to the third line. And we need to get that all the way in there. And then we will do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to just clip it a little bit here. And then we're going to go all the way to the third line. Okay. And just to finish this off, we're going to clip this little bit off on the edge here and a little bit off on the opposite side. So now we've got the mirror image. Now we need to make the mirror image over here. The same exact cuts. So we've got our score line here that goes just 2 markings deep. And we're going to clip to the second line, and then we're going to go diagonal. And then we're going to go the 2 lines, to go to the 4th line, we'll stop. Then we'll do the same thing on this other side. And then go diagonal. And then to the 4th line. Then we're going to take this all the way. If I fold this back here, to make it easier. We'll take it here all the way to the top. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4th line all the way to the top. And we might as well clip this as long as we're right here. Then we're going to do the same thing on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we'll clip this one. Then I'm going to clip the opposite side and then take off this flap here. Right up to the clip point. And the same thing down here. And then right up to that clip mark. Now, I don't know if you've made a shadow box before, but sometimes it can be a little overwhelming. So what you can do is just work with some scratch paper, some like old cardstock that's retired, and make a template and mark all your lines for cutting, and that will help you accomplish this. So now we have this all cut out, and what we need to do is we need to, this will be the outside of the box. So what you need to do is you need to put tape on the outside of the box. So we're going to put tape on all these flaps here. So I've already done that on another piece of cardstock. So we've got all but 2 done. So this is the outside of the box, and we want to put a piece here and a piece here. So, and I've used tear and tape. And I'm just rubbing it down so that it makes sure it's got a good stick there. Make sure that's got a good stick. So that is all we need to do. That's all the tape we need on this box. So it's on all the tabs. These are the tabs that we're going to fold in. And so let's take our pick tool and pull the paper backings off of this before we start folding this up, because it'll work a lot easier if we've got all the backings exposed. Okay, so now that we've got that all taken care of, we're going to start putting the box together. So first we want to do is fold in these little flaps down here. So that's going to be our start of our box. And you just want to gently rub those together. You know, fold that in and then align that on there and rub it in. So I'm rubbing it on the inside of the box and on the outside. First we want to do is do this long side. So we fold them so it folds right over. So there's a side that you want to touch the bottom of the box, but then you want to take this and push this down and press it, and that'll make that firm to the bottom of the box. So again, it's the second line that we're folding it on, and it just matches up with the bottom of the box, and then you just press this down and kind of hold that in place, and then just fold it in place. So that's taken care of there. Do the same thing on the short. And there we go. So 1, 2, fold it down, and then just fold this on over. And there's your shadow box. And it's a perfect size for those Bath and Body hand sanitizers. So what we're going to do, I'm going to take this out of here because we need to put the belly band on there. And so I'm going to just put a little tear and tape on here as well. And this pattern paper doesn't have a top or a bottom, so I don't need to worry about which side I'm putting this tape on. But if you've picked a pattern that has a top and a bottom to it, you know, like directional, you want to make sure that you've got the tape on the left side of the directions. You know, so if it's facing upward, it's on the left side. So I've got it about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge here. And then I'm just going to kind of pinch it along the bottom here. And then tip it upward. And pinch it again. These are marking where we're going to score, or where we're going to burnish it. So I think we've got that. So I'm going to just take this off, and I'm going to just fold this down. So this is my first fold line, and I'm matching the top and the bottom so that they're lined up and it's going to be straight. So then the next marking is about 3/4 of an inch where there's a fold line again. And then we're going to match the top and the bottom again, and then just burnish it. And then from the other end, it's about 1.5 inches there. And we're going to burnish that, making sure that it's even on both ends. And then this is about 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so that's all burnished, and now we can put it on our box. So we'll take your pick tool and take the paper off the backing. There we go. Now push this out. So we can put our hand sanitizer in there, but I don't want it to roll around or, you know, break loose. So I am going to just put a glue dot on the back. That'll help stabilize it. There we go. And now I would like to decorate that, and this is where we come in with our cloche. And we're going to put some glue dots on the back, and we'll put some Stampin' dimensionals. So let me get the dimensionals. Let me actually take care of the glue dot portion first. We want to put a bow on the front of this. And I'm going to just make a loop here. And then I'll take a loop on my left hand as well. And I'm just going to cross those over, bringing the right one underneath into the circle. And then just pull the ends to shorten up the bows. And then I pull in the bows and then shorten the ends again. So I'm going to put a little glue dot there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take one off from here and roll it up to a little ball. And we'll put it right on the stem there. And then I'm just going to put the bow right down on this, that glue dot, and it should stick in place. And then we're going to put the Stampin' Dimensionals on the back. I did the first one, and I put the Stampin' Dimensionals on, and then I had to put it on, the bow on, while it was on the box, and I didn't want to have to push down on it and, you know, break through the paper or something like that. So I'm just going to take the paper's backings off here with my Take Your Pick tool. And then I'm going to put this at the top portion of this box so that I can have room for my sentiment at the bottom portion. And then we're also going to put on the base. If I can find my base, I may have lost it. Shifting papers around here. I see it right here. Let me take my silicone mat and glue that together. I'm going to just put it, I've got my glue here, and this is our multi-purpose glue that we sell in the catalog, but I put it in this glue bottle for just this purpose because it has a needle nose tip on it, and then I can go down with a very fine line of glue. I make sure I do it on the silicone mat because I always end up rolling off a little bit. But then I'm going to put this cardstock on here, and I'm putting it on the glued portion because I always mess it up the other way. So I will stick it on, and then there'll be like, there wouldn't be any cardstock halfway through here or something. So it works a lot better if I put it on the cardstock onto the foiled portion rather than the reversed. So I'm going to just take some Stampin' Dimensionals and put them on the back of this. And this is going to be the base of our cloche. And I'll just take the paper backings off. And that is just going to come right down there. And what I did was I used Night of Navy paper, and that's like the 1-inch strip or the 1/2-inch strip that when you're using cardstock to make a card. That was one of those that I used for that. I needed about 1/4 inch, and it worked. let's see, I think I want to put some snowflakes on there. And we've got our sentiment we want to put on there too. So let's get our Pacific Point back out here, and we'll stamp our sentiment onto this piece of white cardstock. And then I have to put it into our cut and emboss machine. I don't have one that I've cut already, so just give me a second. So cut that back. And I am going to put glue dots on the top portion and dimensionals on the bottom portion. And now I need to see which portion is which. Okay. And we'll just sit this on here. And we'll give it a few extra snowflakes. These are from last year, I believe, but I think there's some loose ones that don't have, oh, I didn't, forgot to take the paper backings off. Let's see if I can get them off. There we go. So there is some, I think, just sequins that don't have glue on them. That I think they're snowflakes that you might be able to use. Let's see if I can get one more on here. I think I want an odd number, so I'll do one more here. I think we've got that done. So let's bring in our other ones. I've got some other designs here. Before I bring in the other projects, we need to finish this one. I forgot to put the ribbon on. Normally I'd put it on before I put on the decorations. So I had to just feed the ribbon underneath the paper here and between the dimensionals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie the bow on the side because there's no room on the top. And I'm just going to do a knot here. And then we start with the bow. And actually, I think I need to make this a little bit longer. One side needs to be a little bit longer. So let me just adjust this a little bit. There we go. And then I'm going to make the bow. My fingers are a little bit stiff here. And then we come down through with the second loop. And then just I'll pull my little ties to make it a little bit tighter. And I'm afraid it's gonna, I cut it off already and I don't have enough. Normally I leave it on the spool and so I don't have enough ribbon to pull it tight. So I'm going to have to try and get it tighter when I come through. So I'm pulling the ribbon, the second loop through. And let's see if I can pull it tighter now. Let's see. There we go. Normally I can do that in one step, and I had to do it in a couple to get it tight enough. And let's see if I can, there. And let me just trim off the little edges. Because by pulling on them, they kind of frayed, so we don't want frayed edges. And I can make that a little smaller loop here. Okay. Get a little haircut. All right. So there's our first project. And then the second project, it's the same box, and I used Misty Moonlight for the box, and then I also used some more of that. The designer series paper is Harvest Meadow, and then I used the Village from the Classic Cloche. And I'll actually put on some Winko Stella to give it a little snow effects on the trees there. And then the last one is this right here. I used the Angel of Peace, and I did it embossing with our gold. And then I used the gold foil, and this foil is retired, but we do have a brush gold now that you could use. And then I had some retired ribbon I put on there as well. I hope you like these projects as much as I did. Why don't you give it a try? Now, if you enjoyed today's video, would you do me two favors? Click the thumbs up emoji. That means you like it. And would you share it on social media and with your crafting friends and pin it to Pinterest? These actions will help keep sharing my ideas with other crafters for free, and I'd really appreciate that. Be sure to hit the subscribe button below so you won't miss any future videos. If you have any questions, be sure to contact me. I'm here to help you in any way that I can. If you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. Just reach out to me. If you'd like to place a Stampin' Up! Order or would like a catalog, hop over to my website where you'll find the Shop Now button. To shop with me, you'll need to go to joanheberlein.stampinup.net. Bear with me a little bit longer because I want to let you know of the promotions going on right now. Do you regularly restock your craft collection and always want the latest and greatest Stampin' Up! Supplies? The Start with Savings promotion will give you that opportunity. Instead of a standard $99 starter kit, which is already a steal of a deal, you can get a $125 starter kit for only $75. What an absolutely unbeatable bargain. And that bargain runs now until November 30th. Before we go, I want to tell you about Stampin' Up's new product. It's an early release, and it's called Eden's Garden. And it's a collection which contains a bundle and some designer series paper and some gems. You can buy the bundle or you can buy the individual items. And the sale starts October 1st. Mark your calendar. I'll be back Wednesday, November 17th at 7 p.m. Central Time, and we'll be doing something Christmas-like. I hope you'll be here to join me. Thanks so much for being here with me tonight. I look forward to next time. Bye for now, and don't forget to subscribe.